In our previous videos, we talked about the three important concepts for climbing: strength, power, and endurance, and how we actually train to improve these three. But actually, there was something else that we were doing simultaneously. That is stabilizer and antagonist muscle training. Stabilizer and antagonist training is to avoid injury and progress your climbing more sustainably. It is good to do more direct training like fingerboarding and campus boarding, but if you don't have good supporting underlying muscles, they can result in injury, which is the last thing we want. In this video, I'm going to talk about what stability and antagonists are, why they're important, and what kind of training we implement. In our previous videos, we talked about three basic concepts for climbing: strength, power, and endurance. We also talked about what kind of training we specifically conducted to improve these three concepts to go beyond our current climbing level, which is around V6 based on moonboard and outdoor grading. For example, fingerboard maximum hang increases your finger strength, weighted pull-ups improve your big muscles, and campus boarding with big rungs works on your power. These training exercises are, I would say, more climbing-specific exercises, meaning that they work on the muscles that are actively in use when climbing, like your biceps and finger flexors. It is excellent to implement this direct training and strengthen those muscles. But there are other underlying muscles that are supporting or complementary to those climbing-specific muscles. For example, when you do a simple bicep curl like this, of course you're working on your bicep, but there are so many other muscles and joints that are making this move possible, like muscles in your forearm and elbow joint. Also, as your bicep contracts, your tricep relaxes, so your tricep plays an important role as well. These opposing muscles are called antagonists. Stability refers to the ability to make a move smoothly in good control, and it is important to work on supporting muscles to make that possible. If you don't have good stability, your training can be ineffective or result in injury, which is the last thing we want. Among strength, power, and endurance, strength is technically the basis of all three because power is about executing your strength in a quick manner, and endurance is about how long you can sustain your strength or power. As we talked in the previous video, finger and forearm strength and big muscle strength are the common types of strength in climbing. When you're strengthening your finger and forearm through fingerboarding or hangboarding, there are so many other muscles and body parts that are supporting these moves. For example, your wrists and elbows definitely support your forearm and fingers, so you want to stabilize your wrists and elbows for your finger and forearm strength training. For big muscle strength, the most obvious one is your shoulder blade, namely scapula, supporting and connecting your upper body muscles. And again, your tricep is an antagonist of your bicep, and it helps a number of fundamental movements in climbing. So, to minimize the risk of injury, stability and antagonist need to be addressed even before you conduct your strength training. With that in mind, I'm going to show you what kind of stability and antagonist exercises we have done in the past few years. However, we're not physical trainer or therapist, so we're not going to talk in detail about how this specific exercise should be done in what position. Not all of them are climbing specific exercises, so you can find more professional YouTube videos and articles online. We put some of the links in the description. Of course, we are trying to do the move right, but please keep in mind that this video serves as a general introduction to stability and antagonist rather than a detailed description of each exercise. The first exercise is reverse curl. The move is similar to bicep curl, but your palms are down and facing away instead of upward or towards you. Reverse curl is working on the muscle underneath your bicep that connects your upper arm bone and the muscles of your forearm. Therefore, it stabilizes your forearm and elbow. We usually use the curl bar to perform reverse curl. We started with light weight. Actually, I started with no weight. and gradually increase as we get used to it. We usually repeat this 20 times in 2 sets. The key is to have your elbows close to your sides. Your wrists should be fixed and your hands gripped tight. Pronation refers to the rotation of your hands so that your palm faces down. The opposite is supination, with your palm faces upwards. And this supination is found in many climbing movements and climbing related training. Therefore, working on its antagonist, Pronator, becomes critical to maintain the muscle balance across your forearm. Strengthening your pronator is also effective in preventing golfer's elbow, which is one of the most common injuries among climbers. Resisted pronation is a common exercise to strengthen pronator, and this can be done using with a hammer or exercise band. Since we didn't have any handy hammers around us, I used the exercise band, and it works just fine. Start from the palm up position and slowly rotate your hand inward. I have been actually doing this for quite some time, and I haven't had any elbow issues in the past. Since I mentioned golfer's elbow, I'm going to introduce another exercise that helps prevent golfer's elbow. Since it's eccentric, the focus is on the lowering of your hand. Sehand opens his hand to add more tension, but this is optional. As the name suggests, it works on your wrist flexor, which is very important for wrist stability. Scapular stability is critical in climbing to maximize your upper body moves. Scapular stability not only increases your shoulder muscles, but it also increases the mobility of your shoulders to help the range of your reach. This is why you often hear engage your shoulder when climbing or training. If your shoulder is not engaged, or if you don't have good stability in your scapula, it can result in shoulder injury or other related upper body injuries. Therefore, it is important to always pay attention to your shoulder engagement, and scapular training can greatly help with that. There are 2 scapular exercises we have done in the past. The first one is scapular pull-ups. It is named pull-ups, but the goal is not to bend your elbow and go above the bar. Rather, try to use your scapula and lift your body slightly upward. Your elbows bend only slightly, unlike the regular pull-ups. It becomes more intuitive if you try to bend the bar, so Sehand likes to put his thumbs along the bar to simulate that move. The second exercise is scapular push-ups. Start from the regular push-up position. You squeeze your scapula and move your chest up and down only by a few inches. Unlike regular push-ups, your elbows don't bend. I tried this move so many times with my knees touching the floor to get a good sense of my scapular moves. Now I can do this from a regular push-up position. Both scapular pull-ups and push-ups look relatively easy, but they're actually hard and it takes some time to learn the moves. But these are must-do exercise for stronger and stable upper body muscles. Dips work on triceps, which are the antagonist of your biceps, as I talked about in the introduction. Dips are also good for strengthening your upper arms, shoulders, chest and back, and the move is actually similar to the mantle move in climbing, so it directly helps your climbing techniques as well. Using the parallel bars, I couldn't do a single move by myself, so I had Sehand's help for a while. Now I can do 1 or 2 by myself, but I still ask him to stand behind me to help with more reps. For more advanced dips, you can use gymnastic rings like Sehand to add more dynamic moves and difficulty. Bench press is a popular exercise outside climbing as well, like powerlifters and bodybuilders. It helps you stabilize shoulders and increase upper body strength, and it works on some climbing antagonist muscles like pectoral muscles of your chest and triceps. We climbers are not aiming to build thick muscles like bodybuilders, so we are using only moderate resistance. Specifically, Sehand uses 50 pounds or 37% of his body weight and do 15 reps. And I use only 20 pounds, which is 20% of my body weight, and do 10 to 15 reps. Shoulder press is almost the exact opposite of the pulling motion, and thus it is an important antagonist for climbers. It is also good for strengthening your shoulders and upper back, and increase your shoulder mobility as well. Again, we use only moderate resistance and do 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. Dumbbell row works on your biceps and stabilizes your shoulder. The conventional dumbbell row uses a training bench with your one hand and one knee placed on net, but we're doing the modified version of it, which was introduced in this book to simulate more climbing-specific posture. I had a minor shoulder pain for a few days before, and since then I've been doing this to prevent further injuries. We showed a total of 8 stability and antagonist exercises, but we're not necessarily doing all of them at the same time. Some of them are what we did last winter along with our main climbing training, and others are what we're doing right now during summer training. Also, Sahan and I focus on different exercises based on what we are weak at. For example, I personally feel like I still don't have the basic strength in fundamental moves like dips and chest, so I try to include those in my training. But Sahan already has good strength in those. But he had a minor problem with his pronator before, so he continues doing pronator exercises. Ideally, we like to do those stability and antagonist exercises on our non-climbing days. But we usually spend around 30 minutes after climbing or climbing-specific training on those stability and antagonist exercises. I hope this video helps you get a good sense of what stability and antagonists are, why they're important, and what kind of exercises you can do to improve them. I can't stress enough how important those exercises are to prevent injury. Because when you're injured, first of all, you can't climb, and it delays your climbing progress, and it's mentally difficult as well. So focus on those antagonist and stability exercises as much as you do on climbing-specific exercises like fingerboarding and handboarding. Also, if you have any other favorite antagonist and stability exercises, share those in the comments so we can learn together. Thank you for watching. In our channel, we cover various topics about climbing, indoor and outdoor, and both bouldering and sport climbing. If you like this video, please take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.